it's Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, March 28th to Saturday, April 3rd. So last week we got our very first week in Aries season under our belt, and it was a very positive shift for many of us, even though we're still kind of confused on what direction we should be taking. We had Venus move into Aries as well, really adding to the fire in the cosmos that we've all been lacking for many, many months now. And this has really pushed us to want to make a change. We've been really considering our basic values, where relationships are concerned, our finances are concerned, where goal setting and planning for the future is concerned. And many of us are realizing that we are really voluntarily staying in patterns and situations that are no longer encouraging us to be our best selves and no longer really showing us what it is we actually deserve. We did go on quite a bit of a journey of the moon last week, reeling through the different emotions now that we have some fire in the sky. We are still very confused on what direction we should be taking. We have little bits of pieces of clues emerging. And of course, with Venus reaching her star point, now being visible in the night sky, we are definitely under a brand new energy influence moving forward. We have the full moon energy still very, very strong as the full moon in Libra is taking place today. This gives us an opportunity to rebalance the scales, to regain our power, and of course, to find a new grounding center point of balance for us to operate from. This week, the full moon in Libra energy is going to continue for the first part of the week. We are going to wrap up March with an energetic bang, and we are going to have to move through some emotions, some thought processes in order to stabilize the energy. Again, that full moon in Libra really triggering us to even the playing field on so many different levels. This week, we also have Mercury tying up the loose ends of its time in Pisces before jumping into Aries energy as well. So let's jump into it and see what this week has in store. So today, Sunday, March 28th, again, we have the full moon taking place in a Libra. The last couple of days, the energy has definitely been palpable. There's a lot of pressure in our heads and in our throat chakras, mostly because this Libra energy wants us to think evenly, think fairly, think in the means of how to balance the scales in our energetic exchanges with other people. There is a grand air trine taking place with this full moon energy, really forcing us to speak up, to speak out, to switch up our perspectives, and to even the scales when it comes to the power exchange in our relationships. So, early in the morning, we did still have the remnants of that Virgo energy before jumping into the Libran energy around 2:22 a.m. And of course, the full moon in Libra is taking place at 3:48 p.m., giving us a wild day of heightened emotions. I am going to recommend that you go ahead and download your moon guide if you haven't done so already. We really do break it down and walk through the very important astrological aspects that are taking place under this full moon energy, and we take a look at the elemental energies at play. This, of course, being the very first full moon of the brand new astrological calendar, is a pretty important energy to tap into. We have 8 aspects that the moon is making here today, some of the most notable in opposition with the sun, Chiron, and Venus, of course, all in Aries. The full moon in Libra sitting across from Aries energy in the zodiac wheel and creating a lot of very palpable tensions and conflicts within our emotions, especially where our headspace is involved. There's been a disconnect for many months now between what it is we think and what it is we feel. And a conflict and a disconnect between how it is that we actually are allowing people to treat us in our realm. So the full moon in Libra is very important for a lot of reasons, but mostly because the astrological and elemental aspects that are taking place under the full moon energy is here to trigger us, to stand up for ourselves, to advocate, to take our power back, and to reestablish balance within ourselves and within our relationships. We have Mars conjuncting with the North Node, really pushing us to tap into our inner warrior, to make the change, to overcome some of the emotions, some of the thoughts, some of the obstacles and challenges that we're being faced with in order to move forward. Again, we're in Aries season now. We don't want to look back. We want to set fire to all the toxicity that we're leaving behind and never look back. We have Venus making some very important aspects, and Venus is going to be a key player here for the next year. Venus was as close to the sun as possible when the equinox energy hit, and this is going to make Venus a very superstar key player throughout the next year and really have us shift our focus on our relationships, on our money matters, on our self-worth. And this full moon in Libra being ruled over by Venus is the very first energy out of the gate where we get down to business and do some deep transformations, where we recognize our wounds in relationships, our wounds and trauma from the past, and where it is that we need to leave that baggage behind. So, of course, the full moon energy is going to do a number on us. You can expect, of course, heightened emotions, very intense emotions. There's likely going to be a lot, actually, of relationship issues coming up, especially where insecurities come into play, where feeling very vulnerable comes into play, where even loneliness comes into play. Many of us are in relationships that we feel empty in, that we feel alone in. And because we are very fearful of what our lives would look like without these particular people standing by our side, we are hesitant to make the changes that we know in our soul we have to make in order to move on, in order to progress forward. So again, I do recommend that you follow the moon guide and really walk through each step that the moon is taking, allowing us to see very carefully where it is that we've given our own power away and where it is that we can take it back.